Hey guys, it's Rich here. I hope everyone's keeping really well and looking forward to getting back to Axis, which hopefully, fingers crossed, will be open really soon. So I'm here to talk about myself a little bit and about some ideas that I've got going into when we reopen. So most of you may know me as the Head of Gymnastics at Axis. That involves obviously being in charge of running the sessions, looking at what goes on in each session and make sure everything runs smoothly. And obviously teaching a lot of that myself. What you might not know, obviously some of you will know, is that I also teach some competitive groups. So I teach competitive group in trampolining, the junior squad. And I teach the double mini trampoline as well. So my background in the sport, so much like Ollie, I started late. So I started in my third year of university, so that was back in 2010 at Bristol University. I remember my housemate at the time asked me to go along and try it. That was under the ruse that there was a lot of girls there that did it, and to be fair, there were. But I went along and I tried it and I just loved it straight away. Joined up then, and then from there just got involved with everything I could. So in my second year in the club, I was vice captain. I quickly did a judging course to help at the competition. I did a coaching course to help with coaching, and then one thing led to another. Just kind of threw myself into everything. So I joined Axis initially as a bouncer, and then did some coaching there as well. And then, well, here I am 10 years later. Yeah, interesting journey. Remember, I completely threw myself into it. So at one point, I was doing, I think, 10 hours of trampolining a week, plus 2 or 3 sessions in the gym a week between Axis and Bristol University. Wasn't very good, despite that. There are some videos available, which if you want to see, make sure you comment that, and I might be able to dig those out for you. In terms of why I coach, it's always come down to enjoyment, really. So ever since I started, I really enjoyed it, and at some point I realised that I have quite a lot of knowledge when it comes to sport, and I have the opportunity to help people out, and I feel really privileged to be able to do that and help people irrespective of what position they're in. So whether they're just a recreational gymnast that's doing an hour a week and just wants to learn a forwards roll, whether they're a competitive gymnast that's struggling and wants to learn a double somersault, or whether it's an adult that wants to get into it for the first time, just being able to help them out is really fulfilling. And then equally, I am slightly competitive. I do try to rein that back a little bit, but trying to be the best that I can be and get the best out of everyone else is a really big part of why I do it as well. If I could give one piece of advice for if you're a gymnast, and this doesn't apply to now, this always applies, is if you're going into the gym, want to be there and want to learn and want to improve, because you'll get so much more out of it if that's what you want to do. So equally, I can tell you from experience, 1,000,000 times easier to teach someone that wants to learn and wants to work hard than someone that doesn't. So if I can give you one piece of advice, it's to want to improve. And then I just wanted to give some advice for getting back, and something that you can do hopefully in these next few weeks before we hopefully reopen, fingers crossed. So something that I think you can do is plan for our reopening, and plan for what you're going to do when you get back. So this is a little bit more applicable if you're a competitive gymnast, so we'll go through that first. But the way I see it is that there's 3 steps to us when you get back to your rebuilding, as it will be. The first step is going to be regaining your fitness. Now you might think that you've been off and you've done loads of conditioning and loads of stretching and maybe some running and you feel really good. Oh, that won't take very long. I feel really strong. Unfortunately, the reality is that you've had 3-4 months out of the sport, off the trampoline, and that sport-specific fitness is going to have dipped a little bit. So be aware, plan for, be prepared that it's probably going to be a few weeks of rebuilding that fitness to get back towards where you were. Secondly, looking at rebuilding your skill base and getting your skill base back to where it was. Now, this overlaps slightly with rebuilding your fitness. Now, fortunately, if you're a competitive gymnast and you do 5, 6, 7 hours a week, this is probably for the most part going to be fairly straightforward. A lot of your skills that you've competed and done tens and thousands of times, that's going to be fairly autonomous, and hopefully once your fitness is there, you can just get on and that'll come back. If you do slightly less hours, you might find that's a little bit trickier, but just be prepared that the second thing you're probably going to do is rebuild that up to where you were, and that's going to take some time as well. And then thirdly, which is probably the most exciting bit, is looking at what you want to do moving forwards and how you want to improve going into the future. So once you've got your fitness back, looking at what you want to do going into what would hopefully be competitions in the early part of 2021, hopefully, and going, what skills do I want to do, what routines do I want to do, what do I want to make better, and looking at that, and just go through that, write that out, plan that, and then when we get back, have a discussion with it with your coach. So give them the piece of paper, email them it, and go, this is what I think we should be doing, let's have a chat about it. I think this is important for two reasons. One, it shows that you're invested and you understand training and that you've got an input in what you're doing going forwards, because ultimately it's all about you. You're the reason that you're there. You should be wanting to get better and you should be doing what you want to do. But secondly, having 3 or 4 months off of training is completely unprecedented. So it's not something that happens in this sport. And getting back to fitness and getting back your skill base is going to be a learning process for you as much as it is for everyone involved in sports, so coaches, everyone. The only way I think that people are going to be able to do that is if that's a two-way communication between the coach and the gymnast. So certainly if I'm teaching you, you'll be getting a lot of me asking you, how are you feeling? Are you tired? Does the skill feel good? Etc, etc, because I think that's the only way that we're going to be able to rebuild back to where you were. Moving on from that, if you're not a competitive gymnast and you only come in and you're a recreational gymnast, you do an hour or 2 a week, I still think this is an exercise that you can do. So look at first again, acknowledge that you're going to have to rebuild your fitness. Now, if you only do an hour a week, your level of sport-specific fitness was probably fairly low, so actually it's probably going to take a session or 2 to get that back. Then looking at rebuilding your skills. So because you do less training, your skills are probably slightly less autonomous, and actually that's probably going to take a little bit longer than someone that does 5, 6, 7 hours a week. But then thirdly, again, the important bit and the exciting bit, write down what skills you want to learn. Look at what you want to learn in the future, write it down on a piece of paper, give it to your coach. Then time permitting, the coach can have a chat with you and go, right, well, if you want to learn how to do a cartwheel on the beam in 6 months' time, then this is what you need to do now, this is how we need to get there, and we'll look at doing that. But obviously that can only happen if you write that down and you give that to us. So that's what I'd advise everyone to do, because I think that'll be really important for when we reopen and going forwards into the future. Okay, that's everything from me. So hopefully, still fingers crossed, we'll be able to see everyone very soon. I hope everyone's excited for getting back to training. I know I am. I'm massively looking forward to the challenges that that's going to involve in terms of running sessions and getting people back to fitness. But I'm very much looking forward to it. So I hope to see everyone soon. Bye.